Hey everybody, it's Somnivorous Destroy Flux, call me Flux for short, or whatever you want to call me. And in the last episode, let's just not talk about that. This episode, gonna take on the boss of World 5, Mango Ruby Run. That's the weirdest boss name I think I've seen in a while. Yes, the boss is named Mango Ruby, which, again, what the heck? I don't know. Either way, here is the arena, and it looks a little different than most boss fight so far. Pound on the grass. Yeah. And that thing is the boss. It's actually kind of cute, honestly, but then the panpipes thing decides to make it our enemy, and yeah. So we're gonna have to fight this thing. I don't want to, though. It's, well, okay, now it's not really so cute, and it's got zappy powers, so yeah. How this boss fight works is you kind of pound on these glowing buttons. Oh, also don't let it run into you. But you pound on the glowing buttons. I believe both of those those little bulb things contain hearts if you need them. Really? Okay. I tried to outrun, which is bad because Diddy is really helpful at this part of the fight. Because once you've opened the door things, you kind of got to jump on the thing repeatedly because, yes, those things are its life. Okay, also hearts will come flying in from the sides. But you want to, basically what you do is you pound on these switches to open the doors. Okay. You can also get hearts like that. Okay. Okay, that's... This boss is one of those fights that, depending on your... It's not like it's a fixed pattern that you're seeing, so it either goes... It's either going to go oddly smoothly for World 5 boss, or it's going to take a lot of time and go very badly. Yeah, both... That thing will contain a heart for you, but you only get 2 of those guaranteed hearts in any given take on the boss fight. And also, I believe you can run out of time on jumping on the back of that thing, back of it before the timer runs out, so be careful. And also, the fact that he kind of seeks after you, he kind of chases you a bit, so that can make it difficult to avoid taking hits, because you kind of have to lead him, or her, or it, in such a way that you can actually do it. It's not a hard boss fight, I won't say, but it's also one that can go surprisingly. You can get, depending on how things go for you. Also, even when he's vulnerable, you can still either jump on his head, which does damage to you, or jump into the water, which kills you instantly. Yeah. I don't know what to say about this boss other than all of that. I think this is actually probably my favorite boss fight in the game because of how different it plays out from the others. But at the same time, how different it plays out from the others also makes it a little bit hard to do. It's... Okay, that went really amazingly. of course. How else would I say that went? Also, okay, holy crap, let's... Okay, somehow that... Okay, my rolling was just not working there for a second. This boss fight is... I'm going to say this, I usually consider this boss fight pretty easy, but I'm having a rough time with it now. Oh, of course it's gonna... Okay. Okay, somehow that did 2 points of damage, even though it usually does only 1. But sure. The other thing about this boss fight, though, is that it's somewhat repetitive. It doesn't really... The only thing that it really builds with is the boss goes slightly faster in the later phase of the fight. Okay, somehow I dodged that bullet. Okay, really? It's going to run out of time soon, I'm pretty sure. Just because the game would love to... Yep. Yep, and I'm pretty sure if you run out of time, you have to hit the one on the bottom again. I don't know, this boss fight is not usually this hard. It's just not giving me a whole lot to talk about. And the other thing is, my controller seems to be giving me issues at the worst possible times with the climbing on these circular drums, which is... And also, he tends to not leave himself vulnerable when you've gotten him to the point where you can be damaged. So he kind of actually follows a pattern to try and keep you from landing, being able to jump on him. So the AI for this boss is actually kind of not terrible, which is a good thing technically for boss design. You want AI that can provide a challenge, but at the same time, the AI for this boss is kind of ridiculous in some senses, at least in terms of how it adapts to you. I think that there is another boss later in the game that is harder than this. Actually, at least a couple bosses. Okay, what? What am I doing? I grabbed onto the grass, but I jumped right back off of it again. Okay, I know I'm blaming my controller for a lot of bad things that are happening in this Let's Play, but I think a lot of it is also just me being very... I don't even know the proper word to describe how I've been playing in this whole LP. Yeah. And also my ability to speechify is being a little bit... Really? Okay, somehow that worked. But also, one thing I tend to do that might be the counterproductive there is that I always seem to want to go to that first, that lowest thing first. That probably might be helpful if I didn't do that, because doing that just makes me very quickly vulnerable to... Okay, for some reason that second phase is always taking only 1 jump from me now, even though the others... Yeah, okay, see, that just kind of leaves me vulnerable to getting hit there. I'm gonna... Also... I'm starting to notice that if you are vulnerable, if you are in trouble, just get off of the drum that you're on. Okay, there. That also only took 1 hit. Okay. Which is a little bit weird. Man. See, that's what I mean. There's a lot that can kind of go different between a good run of that fight and a bad run. But we beat the artichoke, and yeah, that's what that boss looks like. It looks like an artichoke, kinda, with a big pink fruit on the face, and flowers on the eyes. Again, 22 hits. Yeah, we beat the boss, and guess that means it's time to go on to the next world of the game. And that all kind of fell apart. Hooray. Going to the cliff world, which is going to put us in a sticky situation right off the bat. Yes. That level name is good. But yeah, so we've got like lots of ancient fossil area, sandstone cliffs, and of course the sticky situation in this level is tar pits, and also bones everywhere, which is, again, I've already said this, but that's not something I typically, it's something that typically kind of bothers me, and it's all over this, that kind of stuff is all over this world of the game, which I'm probably going to surprise you right now by going on to say from that, this is probably my favorite world of Donkey Kong Country Returns. Yeah, I don't know why either. And check out this puzzle piece up here. I don't know. It's like, there's so much in this level that I should be bothered by, as far as my bizarre phobias and all that other stuff. But it just doesn't really bother me. And also the bananas kind of cycle in here, so kind of gotta jump through these platforms, but they can be a little bit finicky to jump to sometimes. And yeah, there's also 9 puzzle pieces, and I know I'm going to forget at least one of them somewhere. I think there are a couple where you have a puzzle piece that's kind of on one of these things where the platforms cycle down, and you kind of have to wait for it a little bit. But yeah, I don't think that's right here yet. I think that's a little ways into the level further. But no, what was I saying? Yeah, see, there's this giant skull that you just kind of jump into the mouth of, and yeah, it's like, normally, and all these bones just kind of in the tar pit in the background, and all this, why am I, also the tar pits, if you land in the tar pit, you end up getting covered in tar, and you're slowed down for a while, and you can't roll, so you kind of gotta shake it off by pounding, or just all that. Yeah, so it's kind of weird, but no, it's like, you know, I always knew this was kind of like a fossil and dinosaur and bone-filled level, but I don't think I ever really realized just how much of the background is that sort of thing. I am honestly kind of surprised that I am so good with this world now that I think about it a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of one you have to take a dive on if you don't have Diddy to get back out more easily. But no, it's just sort of, it's not necessarily even creeping me out too much right now, but it's just sort of, it just sort of is there. And it's sort of, like, the bones themselves in this style are too cartoony to really scare me. But at the same time, just kind of the thought of having to, whenever I see like bones as like a level design thing where you have to jump around on them and climb on them and jump from bones to bones and like do all that physically interacting with bone. For some reason, that just creeps me out because I just, oh, and there's a one up here that you can get if you're fast, but I'm probably not fast, but I was fast. Gotta go fast. Yeah, okay, there's a puzzle piece that's just right there. But no, it kind of creeps me out just a tiny bit. I could have saved that for a bit later. But no, it just sort of creeps me out because I imagine doing this sort of thing whenever I play a platforming a video game, one thing that I sometimes do, like not usually in any serious, major, in-depth sense, is kind of think about... I kind of think to some extent. Also, this is a pretty tricky bonus area to get, because you can miss that really easily. You can just kind of jump up through the back of the skull. But no, I tend to put myself in the shoes, like, of the character I'm playing as. Like, not, like, in any kind of emotional or role-playing sense, but I just kind of imagined to some extent what I would do if I had to do something like that in real life. Or, like, obviously, when it's something that's, like, extremely impossible, like jumping, like, through barrels and blasting through cannons, I don't necessarily do that, but I would... Okay, and that's a puzzle piece that I was kind of talking about earlier. You kind of gotta wait for the... right bone platform to come down so you can jump to it. But no, I kind of imagine, like, what it would be like to be doing this kind of stuff, like, in real life. To some extent. Also, I died to get that puzzle piece and regret nothing. But no, oh, I've got to go way back here, so maybe I do regret something, but it shouldn't be that bad. But it's like, one example I can give, Breath of the Wild. That's been out for a few months now, and I do enjoy the game. But, and the amount of bones it doesn't necessarily, like, bother me in terms of, like, scaring me and making me not want to play the game at all. But it sort of does, like, vaguely bother me thinking about jumping and climbing and all that on bone that the game makes you do. And just sort of thinking, okay, that is kind of rude. Also, there's no DK barrel in the second half of this level, so if you're not playing two-player, have fun. Well, second half. This is actually when the game starts to get nice, like, eerily nice, and give you multiple checkpoints per level. Well, it's been doing that for a little bit, but this is where it starts to become a regular thing, where it's not just kind of an off thing that happens once in a while. It's where it's like, this becomes the norm rather than the exception. Like, from around here on, maybe from World 5 a little bit. But, which just makes the... It just makes the, it just sort of makes the, okay, grab that puzzle piece here. But no, it just sort of makes the, I'm trying to think, wait, what does it make the... I am so lost trying to think of what I was going to say there. I even forgot what I was saying before. Oh, but it makes the K levels that much more frustrating because you don't get any checkpoints in those still. But anyway, we beat this level. I spent a lot of time in this episode talking about how much bones creep me out, and I never really got to the end of my point, but no, it's like, I would be freaking out if I had to do that in real life. But in the game, it doesn't really bother me. I guess that's just kind of weird, but we'll be doing more climbing on bones and all that sort of stuff in the next episode. This has been Some of the Respiratory Flux. Respond, vibrate, feedback, resonate, comments below, tell me all you want to do. Well, don't tell me everything you want to do. I honestly probably do not want to know. But tell me what you think about my videos. And the next time, probably one of my favorite levels in the game. See you then.